Good day, class. Before we start our lesson, Miss Mendido kindly does a short prayer. Thank you. Miss Espanola, who's the absentees for today's discussion? I'm happy to hear that most of you are present today. So, would you mind to turn on your camera so I could see your beautiful smiles and faces as well? Hi, Perlwin. So before we dive into our discussion, I have here an activity entitled Describe Me Briefly. And as if you look in this picture, what are the things that you remember when you were in your childhood days? You can use the chat box to type your answers, clarifications, suggestions, or additional ideas when it comes to our discussion today. And especially when you are having a hard time in terms of your internet connection, just inform me. And now we have Mr. Molina who shared his thoughts about his childhood memories. According to Mr. Molina, one particular memory of childhood innocence I have is when I always believed in Santa Claus. My parents used to say that I should be kind, honest, and God fearing all year round so I could receive a lot of gifts in Christmas. They added that naughty kids are usually in Santa's list of kids that won't receive any presents, so I always act kindly. As an innocent child, believing in a world full of magic, I totally believed in him before, and it's funny that I broke that kind of innocence when I saw my mother at midnight putting some candies and toys on my Christmas stockings. Thank you, Mr. Alvin Molina, for your wonderful experience about your childhood memories. In addition to that activity, today we'll be tackling a poem by Emily Dickinson entitled A Day. Emily Dickinson. So, as you all know, Emily Dickinson is being known for writing a poem for the bad, spiritual, or even about the innocence of a child. So, she was born on December 10, 1830, in Amherst, Massachusetts, while she was extremely prolific as a poet and regularly enclosed, not publicly, letters to friends. She was not publicly recognized during her lifetime. She died in Amherst in 1886, and the first volume of her work posthumously in 1890. In addition to that, Emily Dickinson's poems reveal a whole work of her extraordinary poetic genius, presents the complexity of her personality and the fluctuation of her mood, and allows readers to see that the development of her style. She also transforms everything surrounding her into the poetic in an optimistic and friendly way, softening intensity or feel fuller of tragedy, sorrow, and suffering in life. She sees the entire world as the artwork of God. God exists living everywhere in every place. She feels that every single thing in this world is breathing, living, and feeling. Dickinson is not merely a spiritual poet, but a poet who devises scenarios in which spiritual conflicts are played out, thus allowing us to acquire a deeper understanding of the interplay between the supernatural and the natural. This is stated by Fred D. White, and also she uses figurative language like personification, metaphor, apostrophe, and simile as tools to communicate the abstract, such as spirit, life, God, death, and also the last one, nature. So now let's have the A Day by Emily Dickinson. So kindly please read the poem with feelings and emotions.
A day. I'll tell you how the sun rose. A ribbon at a time. The steeples swam in amethyst. The news like squirrels ran. The hills untied their bonnets. The bobolinks began. Then I said softly to myself, that must have been the sun. But how he set, I know not. There seemed a purple style which little yellow boys and girls were climbing all the while, till when they reached the other side, a Domini in grey put gently up the evening bars and led the flock away.
Thank you, Miss Mandido. What a superb way of reading Emily Dickinson's A Day. For your understanding about this poem, I prepared an activity. I will divide the class into 4 groups. Here's the list of your group mates. Kindly take a screenshot and a representative from the group. Each group will be given 3 minutes for preparation and another 3 minutes to present your work. If you have questions, clarifications, suggestions regarding that activity, feel free to ask. So for group 1, we have Visico, Kabuwag, Habagat, Aquino, Pansito. For group 2, we have Repatacodo, De Los Reyes, Mendoza, Lubrico. And for group 3, we have Molina, Alemania, Paulo, Aropesa, Ginto. And lastly, for the group 4, we have Mandido, De La Cruz, Española, Leoparte, and Pilar. For Group 1, using an infograph, discuss the theme and symbolism of the poem A Day by Emily Dickinson. For Group 2, through radio broadcasting, discuss the meaning of the poem A Day by Emily Dickinson. Group 3, using a graphic app, illustrate the sound devices used in A Day by Emily Dickinson. Lastly, for Group 4, through a monologue, elaborate the imagery and style used in A Day by Emily Dickinson. So here's the rubrics for your group activity. You will be graded according to the following: topic, mastery, clarity, posture and tone, creativity, organization, creativity, behavior. This is for a total of 25 points. Type 1 if you're ready to present your group work. Consecutively, based on what we have discussed, I have a question. First, what is the main purpose of Emily in writing this poem? Thank you. Second, as a student in today's happening where COVID 19 exists, how would you describe your day? Oh, what a brilliant idea. Lastly, what is your message to the people when they experience hardships in life? Mm-hmm. Thank you. So to all those people who answers my question, let's give them 5 stars. And for your individual activity, I would like you to express your childhood experience through a poem, 3 stanza with rhyme scheme and use metaphorical words. You will be given 10 minutes to create a poem. So here's the following rubrics for a total of 25 points. And for me to measure your understanding about our lesson for today's discussion, I prepared a quiz. Directions: write day if the statement describes the meaning of the poem, and night if the statements do not describe the meaning of the poem. And for your assignment, I want you to read and analyze the poem Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. We will discuss it by next meeting. Hope that you've learned a lot from our discussion. Thank you for listening and see you next meeting.